Hi people, welcome to another episode on Ram's Family Channel. Today I have something exciting for you. Hopefully you will like it though. I feel like it's a good subject, a good idea to talk about with the increase of cost of living, the increase in food industry. Figured I would give you 5 tips or 5 different ways that you can save on your food. I like to say that it's free food, even though sometimes you have to invest a little bit in order to get the food at the end of the line. But if it's done properly, it can be very self-sustainable at some point, which on long run is almost like being free. First way you can get free food is by farming. Chickens give you great compost, they give you eggs, they give you meat. They're very easy to take care of. Now, if you want to get into bigger animals, you have space for cows, beef, pigs. Those are all good ways to get food for cheap. Let's just say that it's cheaper than what you buy at the store. Last year, I had a pig with my brother, and after all the cost of the feed, the pig itself, everything that we needed to get the pigs a good home, it came down to about $2.29 a pound. And if you buy it at the store at the moment, you're gonna see that the price is way higher than that. I had a couple of chickens last year. After everything was taken into account, with the bags, the chickens, the feed, everything that we needed to get the chickens in the freezer, it came down to about $7.49 a chicken, and they were all around between 3 to 4.5 pounds. So this is still a whole lot cheaper than what you buy at the store. The second way that you can save on food is by having a garden. Now, maybe some of you live in a city, maybe some of you don't have space for a garden. You can always just get a little container. You can plant a cucumber plant, you can plant some herbs, you can plant pretty much anything you want in some of those containers. Now, the way that you can be self-sustainable that way is by keeping the seeds. You grow cucumbers, you keep some of the seeds for the following year. Same with tomatoes, same with potatoes, same with pretty much everything you buy at the store. You don't even need to buy seeds as long as you know what kind of vegetable or what kind of fruit you're buying. You can just grab the seeds from those veggies and put it straight in the soil. This year I ended up with about 50 pounds of potatoes, which isn't much, but you know, it's still 50 pounds of potatoes. I ended up with about the equivalent of 30 lunches or 30 suppers of carrots. Same with the yellow and green beans. I've ended up with a bunch of lettuce, kale, spinach, radishes, and so on, zucchinis, name it. So this is all food that I got for almost for free. It's way cheaper than what you get at the store for sure, and it's still in my freezer, and I'm still eating it at the moment. Third way to get free food, it's maybe the least popular one, but it's still a good way to get meat in the freezer, is by hunting. This year I've ended up with about 400 pounds of meat in my freezer. Of course, I had to pay for my license, I had to pay for my gun. It kind of evens out at some point. Of course, I had to buy the gun and the bullets, but I ended up with 400 pounds of meat. So when they put that into account, it comes down to less than $1.50, roughly $1.40, $1.50 per pound of moose meat. You can also hunt grouse. The meat tastes a lot like chicken, and it's pretty easy to cook. And depending on where you're from, you can have deer, caribou. Black bear is something that we barely ever talk about, but I guess the meat is pretty good. You can also hunt hares, snowshoe hares, and pheasants, turkeys in some areas. So those are all good ways to put meat in the freezer. Another way that you can put food on a table for cheap, uh, and when I say cheap, I mean you can go at the store for about 50 bucks, have all the equipment you need to go and fish. For $50, you can get the reel, the rod, the line, the jigger, and then you can go fish mackerel, you can go fish cod, you can go fish trouts. Some areas in the world you're allowed to fish salmon, and here the fish that we have in my area is mackerel, cod. We get some brook trouts, but I mean they're not even big enough for lunch. We're gonna go ice fishing for smelt later this year, hopefully, if things go according to plan. Striped bass, we've had a couple of striped bass in our freezer, and every striped bass is good enough for 2 meals for our family, and we have a family of 7. So that's another good way to get free food. Last but not least, probably the way that's the cheapest way to get free food is by foraging. And I mean, you can forage probably on your own lawn. Dandelion is pretty good. You can eat the leaves. You can make some coffee with the roots. You can make some tea. There's a lot of wild edible plants in the forest that you can harvest also. I'm not going to name them all. Do proper research before you venture yourself, but there are a lot of videos out there explaining what and how to do it. In my case, I've harvested for about 80 pounds of fiddleheads. We usually go for hazelnuts. We usually go for blueberries. This year was a bad year for blueberries, but you know, it's still, if you get a couple, it's still free. There's also the wild strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, all kind of wild berries really. This year I was also lucky to find a couple of wild apples, and I ended up with about 100 pounds, if not more, of delicious apples. I also had some maple syrup, and I ended up with maybe 6 jars of maple syrup. So there it is. If you have any other ways to get free food, leave a comment down below. I love to read the comments. Don't hesitate to leave a comment. Don't hesitate to share, like, subscribe if it's not already done, and I will see you next time. Peace out. Bye.